Hi everyone, Tam's here. It's time for another Tea Chat Tuesday. August is upon us, and I am drinking iced tea because it is still hot in Florida. And speaking of August, August is it's the go-to time for me. August will either beat me or I will beat it. So in this tea chat, I thought what I would do is kind of recap July, share some of my projects which people have asked me about, and talk about what's going to happen in August. So let's get to it. A lot of people have asked me about the projects I shared earlier in the summer, and I thought I would share with them with you. So first of all, my everything journal continues to be filled. It's not completely full, but I do still put things in it. My Rolodex project, altered Rolodex project, here we go. It's coming along. I managed to make it halfway through July, but July was busy, and that was my fault. I overbooked myself on purpose, and I have shared reasons why I overbooked myself in the summer. I want to keep busy. But it's going very well, and actually I have another person that is swapping an altered Rolodex card with me, and that should arrive this week, so I'm getting very excited about that. What else happened this week? Okay, the Man Booker long list was announced. If you are a fan of reading, like I am, in fact, I wanted to thank those of you that left me wonderful comments or sent me direct messages. Last week I kind of veered off stationery, and I talked about my love of reading and my love of books. And I really appreciate you guys understanding that, and actually having a nice dialogue was created, and I enjoyed it very much. And thank you so much for all of your feedback. A couple of you were so passionate about it, you sent me a letter. So thank you. I really appreciate it. Maybe I should talk about reading more often. Who knows? We'll see. The Artist's Way. I am continuing to do the Artist's Way. I am continuing to do my morning pages. This week, for some reason, though, I did have some trouble doing the entire 3 pages that is recommended. There's no right or wrong way to do morning pages, really, but I do try to shoot for 3 pages of written longhand each day, and there were a couple of days where I could only get like 1 or 2 pages, and I'll explain why. Also, this week, I had quite a bit of house guests. I had a house guest on Thursday night, and then several house guests over the weekend. It was quite lovely. I enjoyed it, but it does require, some prep work and some cleanup work and all that sort of stuff to make it enjoyable, as you probably understand. So a lot of time is devoted to that. My home here in Central Florida is quite the meeting place for a lot of my family and extended family. So I typically, on average, have at least 1 full weekend full of house guests a month, sometimes more, especially now that we've hit August because school has started. I have family that attends a local college that's practically in my backyard. The holidays are coming. Once we get through August and the 1st of September, Florida will be amazing. It's just getting through August. And once Florida weather is amazing, the people come. They come, and they enjoy Florida the way it should be enjoyed, and I enjoy having them stay at my house. So I believe I have someone staying with me almost every month from now until the holidays. So that's exciting. That's something to look forward to. Okay, just to answer a couple of questions. Yes, in doing morning pages, I am writing quite a bit. And yes, I do have a favorite fountain pen. I have been able to use a lot of fountain pens during this time. I've always been able to use them for just my weekly journaling and my letter writing. But when you get up and you write at least 3 pages of longhand every day, you really get a feel for what type of fountain pen you like. And I'm happy to share with you, I really enjoy the TWSBI 580 Diamond. it has, it has like a cartridge built in, so you can fill it up with quite a bit of ink, and you don't really have to ink it up so much. And one of the things about the converters and cartridges and things like that is I find that I have to ink up quite a bit if it's not either eyedroppered or something like this. So this has been very nice, I will say that. And these pens, they're not the $10 pens I've shared before, but they are less than $100. So they're not cheap pens, but I think you get a lot for your money with the TWSBI. So, and all this summer I have been using this Jane Austen De Archimentis ink that I got from Anderson Pens, and you can't see that at all, so I will link it below. I got it from Anderson Pens at one of the fountain pen shows. One of the best things about fountain pen shows is the ink, and I tend to get in trouble with the ink. But I've been writing with the green ink all summer. I'll probably switch it up this fall, but it's been a lot of fun. So that is what I've been writing with, and I think I've shared before I am using an older Paper Blanks journal that was completely empty that I found amongst my bookshelves earlier this summer, and I decided to use it for my my morning pages. And what I really like about these is they look like books. So I may continue with this. I'm trying to figure out how long it will last, because these can be pricey, and I just want to make sure it makes sense financially and it's not too excessive or anything like that. But so far I think it may last me almost 2 months, so that's not too bad given that I am a stationery hoarder. You do not have to have all these things to do morning pages. You can go to the Dollar Tree and buy just a plain ballpoint pen and a notebook, and that is perfectly fine. But we're talking about me here, and I tend to be excessive with my stationery and find any way whatsoever to use my nicer stationery. So that is why I tend to use some of the nicer things. But it does not make a difference whatsoever. Morning pages are morning pages. You do what you want. Okay, another question that came up. Do I feel guilty when I get behind on my letter writing? Yes. I will admit that to you all. One of the things that happens in August, this is the time when it feels so sluggish, it is so hot, and then it rains. It rains constantly. And it just will really get me down if I'm not careful. And one of the things that I can get behind on is my letter writing. It happened last year, and I've tried to prepare for it for this year. And one of the things that I am doing to prepare for it, because I also tend to get an influx of letters in the summer. I guess people have more time off. So it really hits me in August, and I am already behind. But I'm going to be working on that in August, and I'm going to be focusing on that in August. And one of the things I'm going to try to do to deal with this is I am part of a letter writing club. And one of the things that we meet for, one of the reasons we meet is to get our letters, to catch up on our letters and to write our letters. And I think that's fantastic. If you're in the Tampa Bay area and you're interested in the Tampa Letter Writers Club, I'll link everything below. But there's several that are popping up all over the country. Just Google them, take a look, and I will list any that I know about. I know there's one in Cleveland. I have a friend that started it. So if you're in the Cleveland area, look for them. And what I have found works for me is if I go ahead and make the envelopes ahead of time, because everybody wants a pretty envelope. So I'll go ahead and I'll make a batch of pretty envelopes ahead of time, and then each night I will knock out a few letters at a time. And then for the letter writing meetups, I will take all my little goodies, and we have a wonderful place that we meet that has all kinds of little nooks and crannies and charming areas that you can sit and be around stationery and pens and all that good stuff, and you have no reason whatsoever not to write. You can even type if you want to. There's typewriters all around. So I have no reason not to write letters during the month of August, and that's what I'll be focusing on in August, is catching up on letter writing. I hope that answers your question, and I hope that makes you realize that I'm human just like you are. So my find for you this week, since many of you were very engaged in the book discussion, I thought I'd share with you some of my favorite booktubers because what I have been focusing on with the Artist Way this past week, again, I am doing the Artist Way course, and one of the things I've talked about during last week's tea chat was my love of books and how I have been trying to focus on that. So my artist date for this past week was I gave myself 1 hour of quiet time in the midst of a very, very busy week. I really didn't have an hour to give, but I did. I set a timer and I set up a little cozy spot in the house and I lit some candles and I gave myself 1 hour to read whatever I wanted to read. And that was a lot of fun, and I'm glad I did it because now I have set a goal for myself in August to read 50 pages a day. Ooh. I can usually do that at night. I don't watch a lot of TV, so my entertainment is either YouTube or Instagram or reading books. So I'm going to prioritize reading books in August and get some books read that I have had stacked up on my dresser for a while that I want to knock out. But anyway, I have been indulging in some of my favorite booktubers, and if you are so inclined, I will list them below. And if you are looking for, I know BookTube has a bit of a reputation on the surface of being mostly YA and younger people, and that's true. You will find quite a bit of that, and I think that's great for the younger generation. I'm excited that they're reading. Who cares? But if you are willing to dig a little deeper, you will find several booktubers that are a little more serious and are reading more what I would call literature, contemporary literature, something a little more challenging, if you will. And I'm going to list them below. First and foremost, the lady that got me hooked on BookTube years ago and has actually been someone I've been fortunate enough to get to know is Dee Dee over at Brown Girl Reading. Love Dee Dee. And then she introduced me to a channel called Savage Reads, which is a gentleman named Simon who has quite a way with words and is hilarious. And he has introduced me to the Archers. I'm addicted to the Archers now. I won't go into it. I'll spare you the details, but I will link it below. Let's just say podcast meets drama. It's good times. It comes on every day. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. And then from that, I have recently stumbled upon a channel called Garden Scriptorium. I think that's how you say it. Forgive me if I have screwed that up. But anyway, it's a lovely woman who not only enjoys reading, she enjoys fountain pens, and gardens. So how can I not love her? But anyway, I will link them all below if this is something that you think you're interested in. I have loved BookTube for years. It's probably one of the main reasons I even got into YouTube and even started a YouTube channel. I didn't necessarily want a BookTube channel, but I love watching the BookTube channels. And I started to see a lot of very cool people closer to my age doing BookTube, and I thought it was super cool. So that's pretty much why I'm here. So there you go. You can blame them for that. but that's all I have for this week. I hope you have enjoyed, and I hope you've got a lot of fun things planned for yourself for August. And I will see you next week. Bye.